Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone.
Good morning,
Good
teacher.
morning, teacher.
Okay, our lesson today is simple, okay? We just only learn how to state the linear inequality. After that, we will doing activity groups and then we have quiz. After we have quiz, will do parking lot. Okay, there is a lot of activity for today, but don't worry, our lesson today is very simple. But tomorrow we will learn how to solve the problem. Okay, kebat question. As usual, after in the end of the chapter, we will do kebat question. But that is for tomorrow. But for today, we will learn how to state the three linear inequalities that represent the shaded region. Okay, simple only. Okay, we will continue our last lesson. First, we're gonna take a look what is goal for today. Today, there are three goals that I set up for today class. Okay, in the end of the lesson, you will be able to first state three linear inequalities that define the shaded region correctly. The second one, working in a group to solve problem with full of teamwork spirit. Okay, after you learn, okay, what we're gonna learn today, that after that we will do activity groups and then score in quiz at least 2 per 5 of the questions got correct with self-confidence. Okay, there is only 5 questions in the quiz. Okay, don't worry, I will use a new apps which is known as Newport. Okay. Okay, before we enter the lesson today, first we're gonna recall back, okay, this type of question. Okay, this is you already learned about this in last week. Okay, the question is, shade the region that satisfy the system of linear inequalities. It asking you to shade the region. Okay, how to shade the region? I will use my own method, which is you need to shade for each of the linear inequalities, and then you find the common area, then you highlight the common area, then you erase the rest of the shade that is not in the common area. Okay, first for the first linear inequality, okay, I will use red pen. Okay, from this graph, this is the uh, straight line for the first linear inequality, which is y equal to 2 per 3x plus 4. Okay, then we take a look for the inequality sign, which is lower than or equal. If it's lower than or equal, it must be at the below region. So the below region is this area. Okay, I will shade this area. Okay, after that we take a look for the second linear inequality. I will use blue pen, okay, to show the shaded region for the second linear inequality. X lower than 3. Okay, from this graph, this dashed line represent this linear inequality. Okay, x equal to 3. Okay, this is the straight line. Okay, for the second linear inequality, okay, x lower than 3. So from this graph, okay, this dashed line is for the second linear inequality, which is if we convert into equation, it will be x equal to 3. Okay, in this graph. Okay, this is the straight line. And then from the linear inequality, we check for the inequality symbol. It is lower than. Okay, lower than. So it must be at the left side. And then for the third linear inequalities, I will use green pen. Okay, But from this graph, there is no line, okay, that's drawn to represent y higher than or equal to 0. Okay, if we change this into equation, it will be y equal to 0. Okay, as we know, y equal to 0 is parallel to x axis. Okay, so straight line for the y equal to 0 is lies on this x axis. So y equal will be on this line here. Okay, but first, before we draw the line, we must see, is it dashed line or solid line? Okay, this linear inequality is said that this is solid line because it have equal. So, and then we check for the third linear inequalities. It is say higher than or equal. So it must be at the above region, above here. Okay, we check here. Okay, we already checked for all of the three linear inequalities, and then we must find the common area to check the common area. Okay, I will use highlighter yellow color. Okay, and then we check which region is have the three color. Okay, this region have three color: blue, green, and red. So I will shade this region. Okay, next. Okay, this also have three color: blue, green, and red. So I will shade here. Okay, if you guys, you need to shade properly. Okay, and then we check again for another area. Is there any other common shaded area? Okay, above here there is no red. Okay, at the right side there is no blue. Below here there is no green. So that's all for the common area. And then we erase all the that color that is not involved. Okay, let's we see a few examples. Okay, what we have gonna learn today. It's simple and easy to learn. We're gonna take a look for three example. Okay, the question is that three linear inequalities that define the shaded region in the diagram. First, this is the shaded region. Okay, the green part. Okay, this green part is the shape of this green part is triangle shape. Triangle have three sides, so that's why it have three linear inequalities that satisfy this shaded region. Which one is the linear inequalities? Is this part, and this part. Okay, these three straight line is the equation that satisfy the shaded region. But from here, from this graph, we can see this linear equation, right? This equation, right? Y equal to x plus 4. Okay, this is our first equation. And then for our second equation is this y-axis. Okay, at this y-axis. So what is the equations that parallel to the y-axis is x equal to 0. This is our second equation. For our third equation is the equations that parallel to the x-axis and it lie on the x-axis. So the equation on the x-axis is y equal to 0. Okay, this is our third equation. Okay, first we take a look for the first equation. What is the linear what is the inequality signs that we use, okay, to change here to represent in the linear inequalities form? Okay, first we check for the shaded region. Okay, the shaded region for this line, for the first line, is below this line. So if it's below the shaded region, it must be symbol lower or equal. Okay, how to determine which one is we use is from the line. Okay, from the line, this is dash line. So we will use lower than. So for the first linear inequality is y lower than x plus 4. And then for the second linear, for the second equation is x equal to 0. Okay, which is this y-axis. Okay, it's shaded at the left side of the second equation, so it must be lower than or equal. Okay, or lower than or equal. Okay, these two signs, but we need to choose one of them. Okay, this line, there is a solid line. Okay, there is no dash line, so we will choose this inequality symbol, which is x lower than or equal x at 0. And then we take a look for the third equation, y equal to 0. Okay, and then this x-axis is y equal to 0. The shaded area is above the x-axis, so it must be using equal sign higher than or equal. We must choose one of them. Okay, the line is solid line, so we will use higher than or equal. So the answer for this question is y higher than or equal 0, and the last one is x lower than or equal 0. Okay, that is how you determine the three linear inequalities that define this shaded region. Okay, second example. Okay, from this graph, okay, this is the example, the second example. Okay, we need to determine where is the shaded area. Okay, the shaded area is this green part. Okay, this green part. There is three equations that surround this shaded region, which is this line, and this line. Okay, can you see now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. For the first equation is this one. Y equal to negative 2x minus 4. This is our first equation. Our second equation is this one. Y equal to 2x minus 4. This is our second equation. Our third equation is the x-axis. Okay, y equal to 0 is parallel to x-axis, and you must remember y equal to 0 lies on the x-axis. So the third equation is y equal to 0. This is our third equation. And then we need to convert this equation into linear inequalities by changing this symbol, this equation, this equal sign into inequality sign. But what sign did we use is we take a look for the shaded region. Okay, for the first equation, okay, the shaded region is at the above of the first equation. Okay, above, atas. So the sign that we use is either be higher than or equal. We need to choose which one. Okay, higher than or equal. Okay, how to choose is we check from the graph what kind of the line is it. Okay, the line is dash line, so we will use higher than. Okay, to change this equal symbol. So for the first linear inequalities is y higher than negative 2x minus 4. And then the second equation, okay, this line, okay, this straight line, okay, it's also above this above region of this equation, so we will use higher than or equal. Okay, now we check which type of sign that we use. Okay, we check from the straight line, is it dash line or solid line. So this is dash line, so we'll use this sign, higher than. So we need to change this equal sign. Okay, the second linear inequalities is y higher than 2x minus 4. And then for the third equation is y equal to 0. Okay, we check for the shaded region. The shaded region is at the below of this straight line. Okay, if it's below, so it must be lower than or equal. Okay, from this graph, the x-axis, okay, this line is solid line, so we will use this sign, lower than or equal, to change this equal sign. So for the third linear inequalities is y lower than or equal 0. Okay, this is the three linear inequalities that define the shaded region in this diagram. Okay, now we move on to the last example. Okay, this is the third example. Okay, this green area is the shaded region. Okay, the shape of this shaded region is triangle. So triangle have three sides. So if it has three sides, so it means that there is three linear inequalities that's involving in this graph. So this equation that involve is this line. The second one is this line, and the third one is this one. Oops. Okay, this one. Okay, it's around this shaded region. Okay, I will label this as my first equation, which is x equal to 3. Okay, this is our first equation. Okay, this straight line is represented by this equation, which is 3y equal to 5x. This is our second equation. And then our third equation is this straight line, which is y equal to x. This is our third equation. Now I will erase back this one. Okay, now you can see the line better. Okay, we take a look for the first equation. Okay, for the first equation is x equal to 3. Okay, so the shaded area region is at the left side. Okay, if it's at the left side, so it must be lower or equal. Okay, we need to choose which one of this sign that we use by determine what type of the line is it. Okay, the line is solid line, so we will use lower than or equal. So we need to use this sign to change this equal signs. So for the first linear inequalities is x lower than or equal 3. Okay, that's one is for the first one. And then for the second one is 3y equal to 5x. Okay, from this line we can see that the shaded region is at the below region. Okay, below. If it says below, so it also using equality signs lower than or equal. We need to choose which one that we use by check what type of the line. Okay, this line is solid line, so we also use lower than or equal. Then we convert this sign with this equal sign. So the second linear inequality is 3y lower than or equal 5x. Okay, for the third equation is y equal to x. Okay, from this graph, the shaded region is above this line. Above. If it's above, so it's mean by higher than or equal. And then we need to check which sign that we use by check the line. Okay, the third equation, the line for the third equation is dash line. So if it's dash line, so we will use higher than. Then we convert the sign into this equal sign. So the third linear inequalities is y higher than x. Okay, do you understand? This is the three linear inequalities for this example.